Hey guys, thanks for being here. This is a new adventure. You guys know me. I'm Jeremy from the Big Idea Camp. This is my buddy Dalton Hale. Say what's up?
What's up?
And this is a new idea. This is Not Alone, a new program that talks about things that really isn't talked about a lot, right?
Right.
We're going to talk about suicide. We're going to talk about the statistics of suicide. We're going to talk to and about things, how people are affected by suicide. And sometimes it doesn't feel normal to talk about it, but it should, because anything that's mentionable should be manageable. So thanks for being here with us. We look forward for the rest of this school year coming together once a month to talk about it. And Dalton, you're going to do stuff once a week, right?
Right.
Well, Dalton, do me a favor. I know they know more about me than they probably should. Kids see me and hug me at Chick-fil-A, and the parents look at me like I'm a creeper.
Yeah.
Not fun. But do me a favor, introduce yourself. Tell them a little bit about yourself.
My name is Dalton Hale, and I go to Boyd County High School. I'm 16 years old. I play basketball, and I like school. I like fishing. That's pretty much it.
Well, cool, man. Well, this is neat because student-led, student-driven, and to be quite honest, suicide's a pretty serious topic, right? I was looking up some information. I'll read it today. Suicide is the second leading cause of death from 10-year-olds to 34-year-olds. The second leading cause of death in America. That's scary to me. 132 Americans commit suicide each day. It's one person for every 12 hours in the state of Kentucky. Like, think about that. In every half day in Kentucky, someone commits suicide, 2 a day. 48,000 people per year commit suicide in America. It's a big ordeal. And from 1999, that's the year I graduated high school, I was thinking about what's happened since I was in high school to now.
Right.
From 1999 to 2016, the national suicide rate rose 25.5%. And so it's something that we can't keep sweeping under the rug. This is a topic that we need to talk about, right?
Right.
And so I know we didn't really talk about it when I was in high school, but because it's so much more around us, it's something that we should talk about. Let me just ask right now, is this a topic that kids talk about in school?
No, not enough, especially with, like you said, all the increased suicide rates and stuff over the past 20 years even. And no one talks about it as much as they should.
But you know what's common is depression.
Mm-hmm.
What's common is emotion. Everyone has emotion. Everyone has feelings. Everyone has anxiety.
Right.
That's off the charts these days. And not just for young people, for us old turds too. I mean, we know what that's like. And so I want to ask you a hard question. Like, you have a story with this.
Right.
This is not just a research project that you did for an assignment in the class.
Right.
This is something that was put on you not because you wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
You have a heart to talk about suicide prevention because it's actually affected you, right?
Yeah.
Can you share that story with us?
Yeah. So, his name was Spencer Smith, and he was my cousin and best friend. And he was just a normal kid. I wrote down some stuff.
Take your time.
Yeah. I'm gonna open this.
And as we get this, we're coming upon 5 years now.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you were in 6th grade.
Yeah.
Junior now, but
We were both 11.
11 years old. So talk to us about it.
Yeah. So, I think before I tell you exactly what happened, you should know who Spencer was. So we were third cousins, so we weren't like super close as cousins, but we were a lot closer than most third cousins were. And we hung out a lot because we lived pretty close, and he loved playing video games, so that's what we did most of the time. And sometimes we weren't supposed to be playing the video games we were playing, but he liked to let me sneak them. And when we weren't playing video games, we were outside riding the gator because he lived on a farm, so we would ride and go see the cows with his older sister Shelby. And we would go down next to the river and jump on the broken trampoline that was in the woods and stuff. And, we had a good relationship. He was happy. Everyone thought he was happy. There was no real signs. Nobody knows why he did it still. But on January 4th, 2016, we were supposed to go back to school after Christmas break. And I woke up and I got ready, and I walked into my mom's room, and I heard her yelling on the home phone to my grandma, because I heard her answer it as my grandma, and I didn't know what was going on. You know, it was scary, because when you see someone act like that, you know something is wrong. And the first thing she said was, like, she ran to me and hugged me, and she said, "Spencer's gone." And those words were definitely a shock, because, you know, you never expect something like that to happen to you. Like, you always see it happen to other people, but it's tough to know that at any point that could be you. And unfortunately, it was me and my family. And everyone at school was talking about it, but thankfully I didn't go. And I stayed home for 2 weeks, and I think the best thing I can say for how I was feeling initially and like during these first 2 weeks was numb. It didn't feel real. It didn't feel like he was gone, you know. And I think the thing I did the most over those 2 weeks was just lay in my bed and stare at the ceiling, because it felt like that's all I could do. I didn't have the energy to do anything else, because, you know, it was just like the pain was so much. And when I did go back to school, it was okay. My friends were nice, but it felt like everyone wanted to talk to me, but no one wanted to actually talk to me, if that makes any sense. They didn't want to talk to me about what happened. They just wanted to brush it off like it never happened. And, you know, sometimes I wish I could do that, but you got to face it, because if you don't, it's going to come back to cause more pain on you than it should. And, you know, I tried doing that. I tried brushing past it, and I tried focusing on school and basketball, because that's what was going on at the time. And it helped a little bit, but then when you got alone and you had nothing else to think about, that was the first thing that came to your mind. And, you know, it wasn't fun. And looking back, I wish I would have talked more to people, because, you know, it wasn't something that I should have tried to just bottle up and face by myself, because, you know, it was a lot. It was a lot, especially being 11. And, you know, I had a lot of people around me that knew exactly what I was going through, because they were going through the same thing, because they were my family, and I should have talked to them. But, you know, that's what I think we should normalize, is talking to people, you know, about your emotions, because you're not alone. Like, the message is, you're not alone. So you gotta realize that, and whenever you need help, to reach out to people, and, you know, to make sure that you talk to people if you really need it.
That's legit. And the thing that truly keeps coming back to my brain is, you were 11.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does a normal day as an 11-year-old look like in this world? It shouldn't be that.
Yeah.
You should be fishing. You know what I'm saying? You should be laughing about the good things that happen during the day. I mean, you should be making fun of the fart noise at 11,
Yeah.
right? You should be whoopee cushion pranks and jokes.
Right.
But yet you were kind of thrusted into this adult scenario.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, we use this phrase life and death, but you legit were thrown into that pool of here's life, here's death, you're 11, deal with it, as were every one of your classmates. And I remember that Monday morning very specifically, because I got the phone call from the assistant principal that said, "Can you come to the school?" And then they asked me, "Jeremy, can you go?" They wrote down, "Here was Spencer's schedule. Can you go in the classroom and sit in that empty desk today and talk to the kids?" And with the adrenaline, I just accepted that. Yeah, sure, yeah, whatever's that was my whatever we need to do, sure, whatever. But man, that day got really hard.
Yeah.
And, you know, at first, as most kids do, it's all talk at first.
Mm-hmm.
But the more the time goes by, the more real it is.
Right.
And I remember distinctively right before lunch, it was setting in.
Mm-hmm.
This is a forever thing. This isn't just hey man, did you hear? You hear that friends like they break their arm or something like, oh, that stinks, but it gets better.
Right.
This was one of those, this just sat in that this is a forever ordeal, and life doesn't go back to yesterday again. Right. And so here's this empty chair in the classroom, and then the kids are starting to understand that's never going to change. That's not going back. And then lunchtime was miserable. Lunchtime is like when it all started, because now everyone's in that cafeteria, and then after lunch, it was kind of like kids were going home. Kids wanting to go home to see their parents, as they should have. No one blames them for that. I wanted to go home, to be honest. Yeah. It was a long week. I remember the funeral on Thursday night.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
No.
I remember throughout the week seeing the family members, and matter of fact, I remember Friday was my birthday. I didn't get out of bed because Monday through Thursday had been so long that I didn't want to move anymore. The numbness had finally, I gave it space so I could be numb. You went through the motions all week.
Right.
You had to be specific places. You're with your family. But I remember at some point, and you said you felt numb, which is, again, that's understandable.
Right.
I think everyone would do that. But I bet at some point it caught up.
It did.
And what was that like?
It hits like a truck, like the realization of, this is not something that's going to go away. It's not a boo-boo that's, you put a Band-Aid on, it's going to heal. You gotta face that he's not going to come back. And you gotta hope that you see him again one day, but, you never expect, like I said, you never expect it's going to happen to you. And then the realization that your best friend, your family member is gone, it's a lot to deal with, especially at 11.
Yeah. Well, let me get back into this. That was January. For that entire year of 2016, every holiday was the first.
Yeah.
It was a new ordeal, right? So there was that, first Valentine's Day, which is a throwaway holiday. That's just for girls to get candy.
Right.
But there was real cool holidays. But there was an Easter. And Easter's a very specific holiday where you're talking about some amazing things to come from death. And of course, Jesus is raised from the dead, but this is... Right. This didn't change.
Yeah, and Easter, we always spent it at Durban, which I live there now, but I didn't used to live there. And that's where me and Spencer hung out a lot. If we didn't hang out at his house, was on Durban. And so the first Easter was pretty hard because, he would always be there to do, the egg hunts. And he loved to hide the eggs for some reason. And I don't know. It was really, really hard.
But think about the end of your 6th grade year, the awards. Yeah. The award ceremonies, the congratulations, we made it so far mentality. And that's what, the end of the school year is woo, we went.
Yeah.
But actually not all of you did. And that's not easy. And so, and then we go to summer break. Now we're thinking about vacations.
Yeah.
And then, then come I think, the hard holidays. Well, when you're talking about Thanksgiving, we're going to give thanks as a family sitting at a table, but we got an empty chair. And then you have Christmas. And so what some people, if you're not involved in this, if you've never been affected, you're blessed right now. Let me just be honest. You should thank your lucky stars. But for those of us who have had encounters with this horrific situation, it's not a one-day thing. It doesn't just trickle down after a funeral. Every day is the new Saturday, the new Valentine's Day, the new, St. Patrick's Day, the new spring break. Right. Everything's different. And let's just cut down to being real honest here. I think a lot of people would probably even lie and say, I've never even thought about suicide. But the truth is, a lot of us have. And by the way, that's okay. Yeah. We're going to get there here in a minute. That's okay. But one of the deceptions of this concept of suicide is, once it's done, it's done.
Right.
Oh, no. No. Suicide is a very permanent decision for what might be a temporary emotion, right?
Right.
And the problem is with us is we think our emotions, whatever we're going through, whatever has made us contemplate the idea of suicide, we think it's there forever.
Mhm.
And we say, man, I can't live like this. This is really bugging me. I don't want to live like this. And they decide they don't want to. But the truth is, man, that may have passed.
Mhm.
And it may have passed relatively soon.
Right.
But for the rest of us who are still here missing our friend, it doesn't pass. That doesn't pass. This loneliness doesn't pass. This missing my best friend and cousin has not passed, right? You were 11,
Yeah.
and you still miss him, right?
Yeah. It's still really hard. Like you said, the holidays is the worst. Even 4 years later, you show up to Christmas and you half expect him to just be there, just sitting on the couch and waiting for you. And it's really hard.
Well, this is the big topic. It's a big topic, and this matters. And Spencer's story matters. Spencer matters. Spencer's family matters. But everybody has a story, and every story matters. And so if your life has been affected by suicide in any realm, in 360 degrees, if you've been influenced, if something's happened, and you want to tell your story, we want you to join us in this ordeal, because we're going to get together every month and we're going to talk about it, because we should talk about it. Matter of fact, if you're one of those people who are thinking about it, the first thing we want you to know is this: the message is applies. You're not alone, right? As a 39-year-old, I will tell you, you're not alone. And let me be honest, Dalton, it wasn't just me as a 6th grader. I've thought about it as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
But I got enough people around me to love on me to say, hey, this season's hard,
Mm-hmm.
but it'll pass,
Right.
right? I hope you have people in your life that are reminding you that no matter how difficult it is right now, it'll pass. And do me a favor, cling to those people.
Right.
Those people that are encouraging you, hold on to those people, right? Because we need them. And so do us a favor. We're going to give you a lot of ways to connect. This is going to be a fun project over the next year. We want to connect with you. We want you to connect with us. We're going to give you a lot of ways to do that. First thing is on the Big Idea Camp website, thebigideacamp.com. Look over there at projects. Drop down that menu to Not Alone. There's going to be some fun ways to get a hold of us. Dalton is the social media manager on this thing. He is running the Instagram. If you're on Instagram, search _not.alone.
Mm-hmm.
Add it. Follow it. He's there. If you message it, I promise this guy's going to answer.
Yeah.
You know why? Because he cares. He has been there, and he knows what it's like to need people that care, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to give you a chance to connect on Facebook. We're going to give you a chance to connect through email. We want to hear your stories. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to share your stories, but I tell you what we'll do. We'll share some care with you. We'll share some kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Next month, we're going to bring in another family that's been affected by it. Dalton's going to interview another family that just recently has been through the same struggles. A family that lost a son. And it's not easy because this little guy was a football player. And he was a great young man. And now, as we're getting close to this football season, where you see the jersey, you see the helmet around the house, and you're going, that's a void.
Right.
But like you said, you're not alone. They're not alone. And as a community, we don't want anybody to be alone. So it matters. So here's the things we want you to know. Whatever's mentionable is manageable. If we can talk about it, we can start working on it. And above all else, we want you to know that you're not alone. There are people that care about you way beyond your wildest imagination. And maybe we were strangers 30 minutes ago, but now we're not. No matter if you can't find somebody within 5 minutes walk from where you are right now, get out your phone. His is on him right now.
Right.
Instagram him, message him. I promise you he'll reply because he's got that kind of heart. And if right now you're in such a need that you need to talk to someone right now this minute, do me a favor. Call this phone number. Look, it's on the screen. 1-800-273-8255. It's the National Suicide Help Hotline. There are trained counselors there that will talk to you because you matter. Your story matters. Now, one day, I hope we do look back and maybe we do make some connections and they say, wow, I'm so glad that we got to talk through this because it helped.
Yep.
That's why we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
This is not for a grade.
No.
This is not for a
No.
classroom project. This is because we've been to the funeral.
Yeah. If I can help even just one person to not go through what I went through, or at least to have it a little easier than I did, that would make this whole thing worth it for me, because, I want to help people, and especially with my experiences with this in particular, I feel like it's a serious issue that isn't talked about enough, and I feel like I can help. So that's my goal.
Well, guys, until next time, remember you're not alone. Reach out. We're here. But we'll talk to you next month. Dalton, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you.
See you guys.